Today I'm going to show you how to build a tool just like Honey. You know, the browser extension that looks for coupons and then screws creators by stealing their commissions. However, my version of Honey is not evil. It's upfront about how it works and it actually supports creators instead of taking away their income. If you're new here, I'm Arjan. I post videos about software development and design, mostly in Python, but also some other languages and tools from time to time. Now, I'm going to talk about the architecture and design of a tool like Honey. I'll show you some of the code so you get an idea of how all of this actually works, and you'll see what I changed to make it not evil. Just to give you a small teaser, this is what the extension looks like. It's this little pop-up that appears on top of, in this case, the private internet access VPN checkout page. Honey is sweet, but it's actually not that good for you. That's why this extension is called Kale, which is good for you, but it's also a little bit bitter. Before diving into how this actually works, let's quickly talk about Honey. Honey is a browser extension that finds and applies coupon codes directly on the checkout page on sites like Amazon. A browser extension is allowed to run JavaScript in your browser and can inject code into websites that are opened in tabs. When you install an extension, this is going to ask for permissions to do certain things. In the case of Kale, it's a Chrome extension. There you have to specify these permissions in a so-called manifest file. This is what that file looks like. As you can see, it's a JSON file. And if I scroll down, you see the permissions right here. So this extension has permissions to do stuff with storage, tabs. It can see the active tab. It can deal with cookies and so on. As you can see, browser extensions have quite a bit of power, so they can pose a security risk. Be careful what you install. The Honey extension earns money through affiliate cookies. So you buy something on Amazon and just before paying, you click on a button in the Honey extension, and then that's going to set an affiliate cookie and they will get a small commission on the sale. As a consumer, this doesn't cost you anything. So what's the issue? Well, the issue is that Honey actually overrides any existing affiliate cookies, including affiliate cookies from creators who also rely on these things for their income. These creators, they review products and they share links with you that set these cookies, which gives them a commission on the sale. It's only fair, right? You learn about the product from the creator, and you decide to buy it, and the creator gets a small percentage because of that. Now, Honey takes over that cookie, even if it doesn't find a coupon, and it doesn't disclose this up front. Worse, Honey promotes its extension through sponsored videos. So they pay creators to advertise a tool that undermines their own commissions. And it doesn't always suggest the best coupons either, despite what it claims. Now, there's more to discuss about Honey's practices. If you're curious, check out the video by Megalag, which dives deeper into the topic. I've put a link to that video in the description. And for transparency, my income from affiliate commissions is negligible, as my main source of income is online courses. Also, Honey has never sponsored me because they're not a good fit for my channel. So let's talk about how you would actually build a Honey-like tool. Now, Honey is not open source, so I don't know how it works, but here's how I would set it up. Of course, the first obvious component is the browser extension itself. A browser extension is in essence some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that interacts with the page, the DOM, and the browser's API. So I've already shown you the manifest file, which is more the metadata of the actual extension. But next to that, your browser extension is going to be in a folder that looks something like this. And there's a couple of files here that are interesting. For one, there is the content.js file, and this is kind of the glue between your browser's environment and the actual code that you're running as part of your extension. So here there is some utility functions to send messages, and there is some code that manipulates the DOM, and in this case that creates a pop-up. That's the pop-up that allows you to apply a coupon to the checkout page. But this is all pretty rough implementation. We can probably set it up much nicer, but that's not the goal for today. So basically this part of the script decides whether to show the pop-up or not. So then we have background.js. So this is sort of the layer around the API of the browser, and this does the actual job of the extension. So this registers the button click and then allows you to apply a coupon. And there's a couple of other functions in here as well that have to do with the way that Kale works as opposed to Honey, which I'll come back to later. The final part of the extension is the actual pop-up itself, and that's an HTML file right here and a CSS with a bit of style. So there it's basically some divs, a couple of images and buttons, and that's all there is to it. So clearly the interesting part of the extension happens in background.js. And here you see an example of it interacting with the Chrome API. So there's a chrome.cookies object, and it gets all the cookies for a particular domain. And then this function is used elsewhere in the code. So how does setting a coupon actually work? Well, we've implemented this for a couple of example websites. One of this is private internet access, which is a VPN. It's not sponsored, by the way. And to show you what happens, I'm going to open the developer console here. And here we can see the cookies that are currently set. So at the moment there is no coupon, but what we can do is we can click on one of these buttons. So I can add a coupon. As you can see, it opens a tab here, and this is actually an affiliate link from Linus Tech Tips. And then the extension reloads the page and actually has now applied the coupon, and so you pay less as a consumer. And you can also see that now there is a -1 coupon. That's basically how it works. So the extension opens a tab, that applies the cookie, it then reloads the page and closes that tab. Here you can also see that happening in the extension code. So we create a new tab that points to a certain affiliate link that we picked earlier on in the code. So in terms of complexity, when you look at building an extension like this, well, there is clearly some UI work to be done, but it's still manageable, right? It's just a little pop-up with a couple of buttons. That's doable. Now, what is a bit more work is adding support for the various e-commerce sites, because you need to write the code for applying the coupons for each site separately. They're going to have different implementations. Another thing that complicates things is you need to develop this extension for each browser, not just for Chrome. And obviously the APIs are going to be different. Now, you could also implement some sort of facade pattern there to abstract away from specific browser APIs. And then finally, in terms of the overall architecture, what you also need is a backend. That's not completely trivial. So first, you need to store these coupon codes in a database, because then the extension can get the latest information from that database via an API, which, by the way, you also need to build. Now, how do you get these coupons? Well, you can just hire an army of people that search the web for coupons and puts them in the database, or you could perhaps build a system that automatically collects these things and stores them in the database. That system then consists of regularly run jobs that scrape coupons from various websites and platforms. You can build these as cloud functions written in Python that use a package like Beautiful Soup to extract that information. So there you have your architecture, a database with an API to access it, and a set of regularly run cloud functions that scrape coupons from a list of websites. And finally, you have the actual extension that users add to their browser and that talks with the database. The question is, how do we make a version of Honey that is not evil? Let's tweak a few things in the business model to create Kale. Now, the first modification that I'm going to make is that Kale doesn't override existing cookies. If you clicked on an affiliate link posted by a creator that sets the cookie, then the creator will get that commission as usual. This is actually pretty easy to implement. So I added a function called isAffiliated that gets the cookies for the current tab and then filters them by a particular name of a cookie that you're looking for that particular website. And then you can check whether a cookie exists by verifying that the length is larger than 0. As a result of this, only if there's no existing affiliate cookie, then Kale is going to insert its own cookie. Although we might make one exception here and let Kale actually override any cookie that was placed by Honey. The second thing that we changed is that instead of Honey, which always applies its own cookie, Kale actually gives you as a consumer control. So when you want to apply a coupon, you basically have two buttons. One button that supports the development of Kale by inserting our cookie, and the other button supports a creator by randomly picking from a list of creator affiliate links. You already saw what that looked like in the private internet access example. Here's another VPN, NordVPN, and there we built something very similar. So there you also see we now have this little pop-up where you have the two buttons. You can add a coupon and support the creator, or you can add a coupon and support Kale. For now, like I said, this is a pretty rough implementation. So I just inserted a bunch of affiliate links by some random creators. There is PewDiePie, MrBeast, Oversimplified, and a couple of others as well. And I've also added one for private internet access, only Linus Tech Tips for now. Now, obviously, if you were to actually build this, this is the kind of thing that you would then store in a database. And finally, code of the extension is open source on GitHub. For now, it's just part of our code examples. If we actually develop this, I'll put this in a separate open source repository. but that means you can independently verify that the extension is not doing anything shady, like inserting my own affiliate link, even if you opt to support a creator. Oops, I just spilled the beans. What I've shown you today is not yet a complete extension that's production ready. You can find all the code in the repository that I linked to in the video description, but there's still a lot of work to do, in particular for the backend. I hope this video gave you an idea of how a tool like Honey works, but that it also shows you that doing shady shit as a company is a choice. You can opt to not do stuff like that and still have a good, decent business. There's plenty of examples of this out there. But now I'd like to hear from you. Do you think I should develop Kale into a real thing? Let me know your thoughts. Also, feel free to tag your favorite creator in a comment. Hopefully they'll see this video that way, because I can't do this alone, but maybe together we can make an impact. So if you are a creator and you'd like to work with me on this extension, post a comment here or reach out to me by email. If you enjoyed this video and the technical discussion around it, you might also like my latest code roast. This is a video where I review a piece of code submitted by the audience, by you, and then I completely refactor it and make things better. Or worse, possibly. Check it out right here. Thanks for watching and see you next time.